Hey everybody, welcome back, and it's a double Ross toy hunt. I'm at two different stores. Now check these out. I found these like car racks and stuff like that, and there's a Batman one in here, some Beetles and stuff like that. But I'm most interested in checking out that Batman. I'm just going to grab them down. There's a couple of other guys in here. They look like they're resellers or whatever, so I'm just kind of putting stuff in my cart. Not everything I put in my cart I'll buy, so if you see me grabbing doubles of stuff, it's just because I want to keep it in my cart. Anyways, first of all, found these Gijoe Classified series figures, but I feel like I saw them last year. I'm going to have to put one in my cart just to remind myself, did I already get that one or not? But check this out. Here's another NECA Tales from Space. This is the Marty McFly in the yellow jumpsuit, trying to pretend like he is Darth Vader. That's pretty cool. You got a figure from the Demon Slayer, and we're just going to keep looking. This is kind of my favorite aisle. On this side, it's a hodgepodge full of stuff just piled all over the place, but I like the pegs because I feel like they're putting everything on the pegs. Now, most of this stuff looks like I've seen it before. There's Ahsoka. I already got that one. All these AEW figures, I think I pretty much have already or have seen them. I don't grab that many of them, and I don't really show them off. I use them mostly for like customizing and the accessories and stuff like that. Got some Avatar figures built in there. Dragon Ball Z, of course. Got the cheapo Star Wars things. You got some vintage collection. There's an Acolyte figure. I don't think that's doing too well. Anyways, these G.I. Joe Classified Series Legacy figures have been at Ross, but I think $16.99 is still a little bit pricey since it's just one figure in there. Maybe they should be $9.99 like Sarge is, especially because I feel like they've been around since last year. There's the Terminator police officer. If you need a police officer outfit or something like that, you could probably use that. He's probably a little tall for your other figures, but if he's standing in the background, that would be pretty cool. Anyways, got Parks and Rec back there, and what is that? Salt and pepper? Yeah, let's grab that, and we'll take a closer look a little bit later. Here's some G.I. Joe Super 7. Those are down to $9.99. But I think that they could be a little bit cheaper considering how much those Super 7s were last year. So there's just a hodgepodge of stuff in here, and that's why I kind of like going to Ross, is because it's a little bit interesting that you see figures from every single line of action figures and not just like Hasbro or Mattel or whatever. It's a mix of stuff and a lot of stuff that I haven't really seen before. Now we're looking at these big tables that they got set out and checking out. There's a couple of Classified Series figures here, more legacies. These are the Halo jumpers though. I had already picked one of these up because I wanted the parachute to stick with my HasLab figure that for some reason didn't come with a parachute. But anyways, right over there is that Avatar piece that I saw before, and that thing is just not budging. I do like to peek under the tables because you never know if you're going to see a lightsaber or something big under there. But pretty much today, that's what I've seen. And I'm just going to cruise to one more area, I think, in the store. It's this back shelf where they have a whole bunch of stuff. And on my way, I'll just show you the little tables that are set up out front. And I got to peek around because they got racks in front of them. So you got this big old shelf on the back wall, and not a whole lot going on. That was kind of cool and colorful, so it caught my eye. That is some DC figures. And then, you know, you do want to spend some time just moving the stuff around because you never know what is going to be behind some of these big, gigantic boxes. Unfortunately, today, I did not find any Marvel Legends in this store, and you know what? I kind of gave up. So here's what I got in my cart. There is Helix G.I. Joe Classified Series. You got the Tekken figures. Those are $15 though, $14.99. So probably going to stay here. You got that Terminator 2 Judgment Day. He's a little expensive. Salt and pepper. Can you imagine that price point? That's almost ridiculous. But it is two figures. And then you got the Sesame Street. That is $15. That's a little bit too high. You got the Batman Batmobile. $3.99 is a good price. And I'm so tempted. So I'm at another Ross here, and I'm looking at these racks. And you know what? If you look to the left, you see those are really full. More on that later. But anyways, this is the second Ross, and now they got these extra racks just popping up. These are temporary racks because I never see them when it's regular time, only around Christmas time when they're loading this place up with toys. So I am looking everywhere trying to find something. So I've seen a whole lot of these G.I. Joes, a whole lot of these E.T. NECA figures, a whole lot of NECA figures in general. So this bike with Elliot just did not sell, and the ETs apparently just did not sell at all. And you'll see here in this video, there's a lot of gargoyles figures in this store as well. And I've seen those before. So they weren't even selling at Ross. Here is a black and white Wolfman that is kind of cool if you're into those NECA Wolfmans. And then we got the Ezra there. That's the hologram version. There's a whole stack of those behind him. And of course, Acolyte figures. But we're not going to pay any attention to those as we move on, because we've just seen them week after week. Check that out. There is a glow-in-the-dark mummy that is pretty cool. If your eye caught it up in the right-hand corner, that was another NECA ET figure. Right down here, we got some Pokemon figure that is pretty cool. Just kind of like trying to figure out what in the world is here. Those are those Avatar ones. It's really weird that all the different scales. Parks and Rec there. Look at that. That is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle mummy figure right next to a NECA Frankenstein figure. And man, you know what? They're kind of expensive even for Ross, in my opinion. I think they should be in the $10 range if they really want them to sell. So I don't know what's going to happen, if those are going to get clearance or if people are going to end up buying them because they're the last things on the shelf. But you could see how many mummies there were, and then they had this aliens figure. I mean, NECA is just all over the place in this store. And pretty much all the stores have a boatload of these figures from NECA. I just don't know how they're doing it, man. It's like these things go to Target and Walmart or whatever and then just end up here. Does nobody want these things? Because these ETs are not flying off the shelf. There was another Star Wars Black Series Acolyte figure, but we're not going to pay any attention to that. There's a Skeleton Crew figure up top. And then I saw Transformers, but that's some sort of like pinball machine or foosball, whatever it is. We're not going to really pay much attention. But this is the back wall. You can see all the racks in the way. They got all the racks just like double piled in that main hallway. And the boxes are interesting because they say Mattel, they say Hasbro and stuff. So I'm looking really closely at those boxes when I walk by. And today I will tell you when we get to that, I did find something really cool. Anyway, so we just keep pulling stuff off the shelves. But man, you know, it's like, I don't know what's going on. Here's another one of those legacy G.I. Joes. So if you really need one, run down to your local Ross because I feel like they're just going to have them. Check that out. This was kind of cool. That is from the animated Star Wars Visions. And that guy looks really cool. I have the Black Series version, and I was thinking about picking that up. Here's more gargoyles in the main aisle on those tables. I thought that was kind of cool. Here's kind of an interesting robotic-looking Superman. I don't know why he needs a super suit like that if he's super strong and nearly invincible anyways. Here's more cars, but I didn't find anything of interest there. I did see a 007 Aston Martin in the store. I don't know if I showed it off or if I showed me picking it up, but I am going to show it later when I do my wrap-up. So anyways, here we go. We're just looking around, and look at this in the Christmas decorations. Superman Hush. That is pretty cool. That is one of those Mcfarlane Ross exclusives. You got the Ezra hiding back there. And then when I turn this corner right over here, I found a Star Wars Black Series from the Andor series, and I don't have that one, so I'm definitely going to throw that in my cart. Anyways, there's one more area where they have toys, and when we walked over there, we found some Avatar stuff. Hey, check this out, G.I. Joe Classified series. There's 2 of them here. I'm going to throw in my cart. I don't know if I have one, but they would work well with customizing and martial arts figures. If you heard my dog barking in the background, sorry about that. I just could not get him to be quiet. Anyways, I'm still looking around, and I found Mr. Terrific. Now, I had these ones because I was trying to build that robot, but $3.99, I might as well get it because that way I get the arm for my robot figure. Anyways, there's Evil Dead, there's Dracula. We have found a whole bunch of stuff over in this section. So I was quite happy in this store with what I was able to come up with, and I think it's pretty cool. Here's another Tekken. Just wanted to show you that $15 price point I think is just a little bit too high for that, especially at Ross. I'm expecting a lot lower prices. Anyways, we just keep looking around, and we're just not finding anything else. So I was really hoping that I was going to be able to pick up something Marvel Legends wise today, but as you can see, there was nearly nothing on the shelves. except I did get lucky. So let's go through my cart, and we got this James Bond, No Time to Die, Aston Martin. I thought that's pretty cool. Mr. Terrific is in my cart. I'm going to probably get that just for the arm. And then, you know what? Speeder bike. This guy is pretty cool. That is a pretty cheap price. Found this Legos. My grandson loves Legos, so I'm definitely getting that. We built the Groot, and I think that's pretty cool. We got Superman Hush. I think I'm going to get one of these just to see, because it's supposed to be like just like the regular one, only much cheaper. So I got this one. I'm going to grab that. That's not a bad price, $8 or whatever it is. And then we got this G.I. Joe Classified series. That's not bad either. And then I found these 2 sets of this Marvel Legends pack, and I just had to pick them up. They were on this shelf, shoved way in the back behind a bunch of books and stuff like that. I asked somebody if I could grab them because I didn't want to get in trouble like I did last time, so I was able to get them. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it, and as always, have a fantastic day.